Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to Jonesy Chats Wrestling. In just a few seconds, we're going to tell you about last night's Monday Night Raw, talking about Andrade and Charlotte, latest update regarding the NXT Tag Team titles being vacant, and a lot more. It's myself and Steve from SCW. Stay tuned. We want to hear your comments in the comment section. We hope you listen to Jonesy Chats Wrestling with George and Steve coming up next. Stay tuned, guys. It's on the way. Hi, welcome back to Jonesy Chats Wrestling, and we're back once again. I'm joined by a special guest, none other than regular co-host on the Raw side, none other than Steve from SCW. How are you this afternoon, Steve?
Yeah, really good, thank you. It's always great to be here. I love coming here discussing Raw and SmackDown with you, Jonesy. Honestly, it's always a lot of fun, and this week it's going to be no exception. A big Raw this week.
A lot to talk about. It's going to be a big episode of the podcast. Definitely a lot coming up. Definitely want to hear your opinion in the comments. Let us know what you thought of Raw and stuff like that. Let's kind of get into it then. So, Raw last night, coming off an eventful Fastlane pay-per-view. Before we kind of go into Raw briefly, Steve, what did you think of Fastlane? Was it a thumbs up, thumbs down show for you?
I gave it a 6 out of 10 on my review. I thought that the second half of the show definitely helped build that rating up. I thought the first half was quite poor. It is a shame, I'll quickly mention it, we don't get Retribution on Raw, but I thought that was quite an interesting note. I really enjoyed Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, as well as Drew and Sheamus. I think Drew and Sheamus was my match of the night. And as most people probably know by now, I'm not as much into the supernatural stuff, but certainly a lot of talking point with The Fiend being back on WWE TV.
I thought it was a good go home show. They did a lot in that time. I think the main event and the Drew Sheamus match was fantastic. Definitely, it was worthwhile. Even though I wasn't a fan of the pay-per-view at the start, I think going in, I was really kind of impressed by those last two matches. Saved the show for me, in all honesty.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those two are big matches. They got a lot of time as well, which a lot of the undercard got quite little time on the show. And something like Big E and Apollo, I think, suffered from that.
Yeah, unfortunately it did. Sort of going in now, so we're going to get into this Raw report. This is obviously Raw, the follow-up from the Fastlane pay-per-view. So the show opens up. We've got Bobby Lashley and Sheamus, so this is a rematch from last week. Really, really kind of interesting match. It was very hard-hitting. We've got sort of a lot of sort of near falls and stuff. Were you surprised to see this match again on Raw this week? I thought it was a strange choice of a match, really.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's that sort of heel versus heel dynamic. But as the story sort of played out, I mean, as it played for the show, it kind of went a bit backwards and forwards, really. But actually, what we had last week, a lot of the criticisms was, well, why is Lashley always in matches with MVP and no sign of the Hurt Business? Like, we don't see Shelton, we don't see Cedric anywhere. And a lot of people have been calling that out. But we got that rematch this week, and that actually gave an excuse for Cedric and Shelton to both get involved in the match, which a lot of people have been crying out for.
Definitely. I think it was great to see sort of the Hurt Business back, but Sheamus didn't really sell a lot of the injuries from the night before. I think that's a small thing for me. I think he should have been selling it a lot more. It was a brutal match the night before, but no, they got a good amount of time. Obviously, towards the end of the match, we do get the Hurt Business come out. It ends up with them trying to take out Sheamus there as well. Obviously, Lashley does pick up the win, and that's by submission. Were you a fan of sort of Lashley getting a win here? I think it's an important win. He had to win going into WrestleMania, didn't he?
Absolutely. Like you said, from the night before, Sheamus had been in a brutal match. Arguably, as I said, my match of the night from Fastlane. Yes, perhaps he didn't sell the injuries, but looking at his back, it did look painful. It was the right result here. And of course, I mean, it was a bit bizarre with the way that Hurt Business were getting involved. MVP didn't look too impressed about it. Lashley didn't look that impressed about it either. But no, it was the right result here. I mean, I didn't really see Sheamus give up, but it looked like he kind of passed out from the pain. But overall, this was the right move. Bobby Lashley is your champion. It's now 3 weeks until WrestleMania. You need to make him look as strong as possible. And Sheamus, of course, doing the job last night, is no longer around in that main event scene.
100% agree. Obviously, after the match, we get Benjamin Alexander, the Hurt Business, attacking Sheamus. This then leads to Drew McIntyre coming out to kind of make the save. Really, really kind of interesting, the fact that the Hurt Business chose to do this cheap shot on them. Interesting that Drew came out for the save. Was you a fan of this after the match?
I was, in a way, because I kind of felt myself, not to mention that other company at AEW, but it kind of felt like that Eddie Kingston, John Moxley kind of coming together. Like, we've had brutal wars, but yet, you know, still end of the day, there's that respect there. There's that something there that makes me want to come and make the save. But sadly, even though this I thought was really good with Drew making the save, Drew's explanation was fine. It doesn't feel like we're going to get much follow-on from it, because obviously later in the night, Sheamus kind of distanced himself from it. So there's kind of a hit and a miss with this for me.
I think obviously another thing with it, it was an interesting segment. Obviously, the next part of that was McIntyre and Lashley squaring up. I think it was great to see that face-to-face confrontation. I think Drew really came across as arrogant. Bobby looked like he was losing his mind. MVP trying to hold him back like he's a raging bull. I thought it was really fun to see that. I think it's very interesting going into this match who really is the babyface and who's the heel to a certain point. I think it makes an interesting dynamic. Have you got anything else you want to add before we move forward?
I think it's an interesting point you make because obviously Bobby Lashley has been facing heels. I mean, Sheamus has been a heel. The Miz was a heel who he won the title from. So you kind of you kind of have that sort of balanced dynamic. And like you said there, I mean, WWE, you teases, honestly, they really kind of pulled us in because, yeah, it's something we get before every pay-per-view with these people squaring off. But as those two did face off, you kind of did feel like, this is the main event of WrestleMania. Yes, I know we had it at Slammiversary 5 years ago, but you know what? These two have come a long way since then. This has been built. The two best superstars built on the Raw side over the last year, going to go head-to-head at Mania. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great main event. I really, really do.
I agree. I think going to go to the comments quickly. I've got one here for Dominic Mills. I'm so done with Sheamus losing. Yeah, I 100% agree that Dom, he's obviously been the nearly man. His work since coming to Raw has been stellar. Would you agree with that comment? I think it's a great comment he raises.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is like it's in the matches that he's been in over this last week that it's right that he lost, but I'll be sick of him losing. Yes, because Sheamus, like you say, he's doing some of the best work of his career. I would have been happy to have seen him inserted in the Mania match, to be honest, but we're not getting that. It looks like it's now going to go perhaps to the United States Championship, and I think Sheamus might hopefully get his due. Maybe he's got a championship on the horizon at WrestleMania.
Let's hope so. Interesting enough, we then get a backstage segment. We've got the whole of the Hurt Business together, Bobby Lashley MVP. They're getting a rollicking. It's almost like Ali's there. It's almost like the Ali Retribution rollicking they're giving to the Hurt Business. And Bobby's saying he didn't want them to run out. Interesting dynamic, as we said earlier, the fact that they're teasing this sort of, he's now sort of a babyface a little bit by this bollocking. What do you make of this? Do we think the Hurt Business eventually could be the ones that cost him maybe the title at WrestleMania? Because the way that the vibe I got from this is he keeps nagging them. They're going to eventually turn on him. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
For me, I mean, there is obviously some dissension. There has been, like with Cedric and Shelton previously. Now they seem to be back on the same page, but now it's going with Lashley and MVP. My whole issue is I don't want to see them have problems in general. I just want to see, it's the Hurt Business. This has been the best book stable on Raw before MVP came along. All three of them guys, Lashley, Shelton, Cedric, where were they a year ago? Let's look at that and let's look where they are now. Keep them together. Strength in numbers here. It works well as a unit. I don't see why we keep teasing this. And like you're saying, Lashley kind of with that baby face there, but it kind of conflicts it later in the evening, goes completely 180. And that's where it kind of, there is that loss in the storyline for me, because at this point of the show here, I was very much into the way of that dynamic of what it was being presented.
Definitely. Moving forward, then, we've obviously got this match between Oscar and Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce did a fantastic promo previously on Raw Talk, which kind of led to this 2 weeks ago. Great to see her in this spot. Great to see Oscar back. This was a really good match. I thought Peyton put out a good showing. Obviously, Oscar got the win by submission. We then end up with Oscar celebrating. Rhea Ripley then comes out. The debut of Rhea Ripley. I know you've been waiting for that for a while on the main roster. She definitely comes out. She instantly challenges Charlotte to a match at WrestleMania, or not Charlotte, sorry, Oscar to a match at WrestleMania. It then ends up kind of with them sort of just staring down each other. Interesting note, following Raw, we had a tweet from Rhea Ripley today where she's playing a heel. Like, she had a tweet today where she goes, your peasants' opinions mean nothing to me. I take what I deserve. I didn't get a heel sense of that promo, so I'm surprised she's doing that. What do you make of this, her going into WrestleMania? Is she a heel or is she going to be a babyface in this title match?
It's an interesting point because Rhea Ripley wasn't the Rhea Ripley of NXT. That's something I definitely took note from. And it certainly wasn't the dynamic I would have introduced Rhea Ripley either. I'm going to say the positive first with this. I'm so happy Rhea Ripley is on the main roster. I'm so happy she's on Raw. And the fact is, I mean, obviously the Oscar Charlotte Flair plan isn't happening, it seems now. We're not getting the Charlotte Flair Lacey Evans plan that was happening as well at one point, which was plan A. This now seems to be the plan out, Oscar against Rhea Ripley. And let's face it, it's a dream match. It's an amazing match here. But the story for me should be based on Rhea Ripley from last year at WrestleMania. She was supposed to be at the Raymond James Stadium a year ago, didn't get that opportunity. She lost in the Performance Center to Charlotte Flair, which was meant to be her home turf, and now she's now got the opportunity to come to Raw and get that WrestleMania moment. I'm not missing out. Charlotte's not here. It's my time to come in and get the moment I was supposed to have 12 months ago. That is your storyline. That's how you book this, and you have that face versus face dynamic. Or if you want, Rhea Ripley's that desperate to have that moment, then she comes in as the heel. The fact she come in a bit squeamish and a bit like, I'm going to make this challenge out, but I do need an answer now, if you will you face me at WrestleMania and point at the sign? Like, it just, for me, it wasn't the way it should have been delivered. But what I will say is, from the positive, we've got Oscar versus Rhea Ripley. There's no denying this. This is potentially match of WrestleMania candidate. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see it. I think Oscar's title reign for me needs to come to an end because of the fact that we've had it for so long. But with Rhea Ripley, this is the most exciting talent coming to the main roster in quite some time, probably since Keith Lee. But certainly, she was the major star that was left in NXT at the time, in my opinion, to come and make main event status. It's time to make sure that we put the rocket to Rhea Ripley and book her right. I hope you agree.
Yeah, I think you make some excellent points there. I think the fact that she is the natural fill-in, I think she's an audible in this case. I think the fact that, obviously, with what's going on with Charlotte, we'll talk about later. But yeah, I think the thing is, it's a great move in terms of WWE to get her in this spot. What I would have done if I was booking it differently, I would have said I finished in the final two of the Women's Royal Rumble. I'm entitled to that shot. Why can't I get it? That's the route I would have gone in. But if she's going to be a heel, I think her work as a heel's fun as well. But I agree, she needs to get the belt off Asuka. It is a great move. Going to go to the comments section quickly. I think Dominic Mills, this is a great point. I'll bring it up with you, Steve. Do you think WrestleMania matches seem to be a bit rushed together with no build? This Raw seemed just to be wrestlers challenge each other for matches at Mania. Yeah, 100% agree with that. I think the analysis of that is we're 2 or 3 weeks away from WrestleMania now. They've not really built anything apart from the core matches. We obviously had Fastlane, which was a distraction, and that's the reason why they're doing that. Have you got anything else you want to add to that comment, Steve?
No, I completely agree. It was like Vince McMahon had a big red panic button this week that he pressed. It kind of a vision of The Simpsons and Mr. Burns kind of being there, really. It had that sort of vibe to me. Yeah, I completely agree with everything he says.
Definitely. Moving forward, then, this was an arguable segment. We'll go to this one. I don't know how I'm going to tell you about this one. It's Miz TV. Obviously, we've got the tease of the world premiere of the video next week, which looks like it's up there. Braun and Shane Slimegate from last week. It looks just hilariously bad. WrestleCrap of 2021 already. And it's them kind of saying that they're going to basically release this video. It ends up with Miz challenging Bad Bunny to a one-on-one match. Big announcement. I'm shocked. We're going to get a one-on-one match, Bad Bunny versus The Miz. My real concern with this, Steve, before I go to your thoughts, was what the hell about Damian Priest and what about sort of John Morrison? These guys are going to be unfortunately left out because of this. I thought the whole point of Bad Bunny was to give that rub to Damian Priest, not to take the limelight. I get he's a Grammy winner, but for me, in ring, very strange choice. I really saw this match as a tag match where you had sort of John Morrison and The Miz doing most of the work, and you had sort of Damian Priest doing most of the work because Bad Bunny isn't a wrestler. What's your kind of thoughts this segment and that announcement?
Yeah, first off, I'm going to be sports entertained next week. Clearly, aren't I? With that Miz and Morrison video,
it does look funny, that video.
It looks like it's going to be funny for all the wrong reasons. And like you say, it's like the Faces of Fear that we did with the Super Bowl 3 thing the other week. It's going to be WrestleCrap, and we're going to love it. But no, to go on to your point, I think you're spot on. But from what I understand is that John Morrison, I think, injured himself against Riddle a few weeks ago. It looks like he's clearly all right to still walk to the ring, be normal. Also, perhaps maybe partake in music videos by the look of it, but perhaps he's not all right to do an actual match. And obviously WWE, they've been training Bad Bunny for however long to get himself ready for a WrestleMania match. And if it's Bad Bunny or Damian Priest, what one's going to sell the tickets right now? It's Bad Bunny. So they've put Bad Bunny in this spot. But Damian Priest, hopefully, although it's a shame for him, he would have got the rub so much better from the tag team match. I do think he will get a rub in some fashion because being associated with Bad Bunny, this WrestleMania moment is probably going to be one of the most popular parts of WrestleMania from a casual standpoint. So Damian Priest will still get that rub. It's just a shame they won't see it in ring. I think the most important thing to do with Damian Priest now is not what's going to happen at WrestleMania. It's going into WrestleMania and going out after WrestleMania.
I think you make some excellent points. The thing is, if I was booking this, I would have done an audible. I would have called somebody like an Andrade if you hadn't released him. That's the person I would have brought in to come in as a replacement. You've got a natural Latin speaker there. The thing with it, it's a shame, really, but I think it'll be all right. It'll be a great spectacle. Kind of moving forward. Obviously, The Miz has a match with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's obviously not on a very good run at the moment. The main point of the match is just to get The Miz over. After the match, we get Bad Bunny running and hitting with a guitar. Nice continuity there. I like it. It's follow-up from last week. And Bad Bunny's the focus. No Damian Priest. What was your thoughts of the match in the aftermath?
Yeah, it was Raw 2008, wasn't it? But yeah, no, let's be fair. The match was a match. For me, I look at it and I just feel a bit sad because Jeff Hardy last year had one of my favourite WWE matches, if not my favourite WWE match, was the Clash of Champions Triple Threat ladder match with AJ Styles and Sami Zayn. It was an absolute 5-star masterclass. And in a few short months, we've gone from Jeff Hardy being at that level to just jobbing, it seems, every single week. I know he beat Elias probably about a month or so ago, but apart from that, he's losing all the time. This was a nothing match for me, unfortunately. I couldn't get into it, but the guitar spot was good, and what I like about it this time, the guitar broke. So yeah, 1 point to Bad Bunny over The Miz already.
Definitely. I've got one thing. If it was me with Jeff Hardy, would you be a fan of them going to this Willow character? Because for me, I think that's the thing they need to do. They need to take Jeff Hardy off the camera, get him away from it, and bring him back as Willow. Willow, for anybody who's watching, doesn't know he was in TNA. He's a bit like The Fiend. He's got that type of gimmick. Would you be a fan of that in WWE if they did that?
I must admit, I was never a fan of Willow. Please don't hate me in the comments below. Thumbs down, 7 for my channel, not this one. I just was never a fan of Willow, unfortunately. But the thing is, what I would say is, though, you could do a twist of that character, mix it with Jeff Hardy, and do something in between, a fresh new character. Because I would agree, Jeff needs something to mix it up. It feels at this point he's waiting for that contract to expire so he can go off to AEW.
Yeah, no, I think you make some good points there. Sort of moving forward, then we then had this segment. This segment was great. It was AJ Styles, the New Day with Omos. Very, very much good. I like the way that they let Omos get some mic time. He was mentioning stuff about sort of AJ. They were asking questions. If AJ Styles knows Omos so well, what is his fins? What is fins? Omos came out of Andre the Giant, which was hilarious considering he probably wasn't even born when Andre was around. That was quite a funny analysis there. But no, I really kind of enjoyed it. So what was your thoughts this AJ Styles and New Day segment with Omos?
Yeah, it was entertaining. It was a lot of fun. And I must admit, this is something I wanted to talk about because obviously the New Day have this feeling of partners and if they know one another well enough to work together. And it just made me think, I need to know if I know you well enough. So first off, what's your favourite colour?
My favourite colour, blue.
Blue, that's good to know. Blue's actually one of mine. I like black as well. Another one of my favourite colours. But also, then what's your favourite ice cream?
Peanut butter, probably.
Nice, good choice. I'm a cookie dough Ben and Jerry guy myself. I must
Ben and Jerry's
admit.
is nice.
Yeah, I know your favorite wrestler of all time, so I'm going to make the guess on it. It is the Undertaker, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well done, mate. Well done. It's pretty good. There you go. Have you got the lottery numbers as well? That might help while we're at it now.
Unfortunately, no. I've been trying that for years. Good, that would help us through the pandemic, wouldn't it? For me, this was a lot of fun. And just in case anyone was wondering, RVD and Shawn Michaels my two favorites of all time. It's hard to split them, but no, it was a good fun segment. I really enjoyed it. Like you say, great comedy value.
Definitely. We then had this singles match, AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston. Really, really good match. Kofi ended up getting the win. So two former champions. I really enjoyed it. Really kind of enjoyed it. I think they did a great job of getting this tag match over at WrestleMania by this match. Did you enjoy the match?
Yeah, solid. Kofi and AJ are two fantastic workers. Put them together creates magic, doesn't it?
Definitely. Moving forward to your next segment, I'm interested in your opinion. This one, every week we're saying similar things, so let's see if it's the same this week. Obviously, we've got a backstage segment. It's Sheamus and Riddle. Riddle's there. Sheamus is there doing a promo, basically a really good, serious promo. Riddle walks by on the scooter. It then ends up with Sheamus kind of just totally, utterly destroying him. I think this has been weeks coming. I think everybody clapped to themselves when Sheamus destroyed Riddle. Was it just me, or did you have the same feeling?
I loved it. And the thing is as well, you called this a couple of weeks ago. You said that Scooter's going to be involved in a storyline somewhere. And boom, Sheamus was the one and said, well, this Scooter, is it? I'm going to use that on you. And no, that was poetry. I enjoyed it. It was great fun. Oh, yes, we've seen this match before, but you know what? Book it for WrestleMania. And I think it should be really decent. These two have been great when they've been in the ring together.
I'm just going to go to the comments quickly. I've got one here from Review Geek 3000. It was one of the better shows in a while. Sheamus has proved his worth. WWE needs to push him more. He's very underrated and glad to see the Fiend back. Yeah, I agree with all them points with you, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally.
Going to go to the comments. We've got Steve here, a regular other co-host that does the other shows with us. Going to go to the comment here. He's dropped. Jeff Hardy reportedly dropped a new contract in September. I'll be interested if it's a Legends deal or something maybe, but no, that's interesting, definitely. I'm going to go forward then with this. So last thing I was going to say about kind of Riddle as well. Riddle and Sheamus, this was obviously built up for, I think, Sheamus to get in the United States title picture. That's the only reason why I think they've done this, but they had some really weird booking with Sheamus. 1 minute he's a baby face, next minute he's a heel. It's very 50-50 booking. What have you made of it?
WWE like to do their 50 Shades of Grey, don't they? They like to have people that sort of like in between characters, and we're getting it more and more recently. It feels like we're not getting the face versus heel dynamic like we mentioned earlier in the show. Like Lashley versus Sheamus has been quite popular. Lashley versus Miz. Earlier in the year, AJ and Elias faced off against each other in a singles match, all heels. So they seem to have this thing where it doesn't seem to matter who's facing heel anymore. They mix people together. It's almost like if you're watching UFC, I guess it's just they're fighters, and that's what it is.
Definitely. And moving forward, then we obviously had this match, Drew McIntyre versus the Hurt Business. If Drew wins, the Hurt Business are banned from ringside during the match. Drew obviously picked up the win, so further dissension for the Hurt Business. It was the right move to win. Drew getting the win there. He needs to stay strong on the road to WrestleMania. Did you enjoy the match?
Yeah, I enjoyed the match, particularly the finish. The way that Cedric sells that Claymore was amazing, wasn't it? But I mean, the thing is, I mean, Ashley has never really had the Hurt Business at his side that often, so it kind of didn't really make so much sense. But I like the fact the match had meaning, though. The fact is they perhaps could have come down like they did on this Raw. They won't be able to do that now, so that made perfect sense that he included that. I just think if I was Drew, I'd have got MVP lined up in that as well, so there was no one. It was just strictly one-on-one. But hey, maybe I'm nitpicking.
That's a good shout. I think an interesting note, obviously, after the match, we have once again the same thing we had earlier in the show where we get sort of the Hurt Business getting stripped down and getting talked down by it's Ali again all over, but with MVP. Interesting dissension, obviously, because they were all before Lashley won the belt, they all seem to be such a good stable. And because the WWE Raw brand is so short of stables, I'm with you, Steve, they shouldn't be doing this. I think it's unless there's a long term storyline arc where they turn on Lashley, there is no real point to this, I'd agree. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it kind of went a bit weird for me because obviously, yeah, it made sense. MVPs are unhappy. They've lost the matches. Like you've disrespected the name of the Hurt Business to yourselves twice tonight. You didn't make up for it. We'll get someone that's going to do it. But earlier in the night, they didn't want them involved in the match. So why are they upset about it? So that doesn't make any sense. But what I will say is when they decided to go in front of the 24/7 jobbers, I noticed one person sitting in the corner and his name is Ricochet. 100%. And I don't know. I just thought to myself, is this the moment they're going to have him step up and do something? And actually, maybe he would get a title match before WrestleMania or join the Hurt Business. Will they do something to get Ricochet on TV? I'm praying for it. I'm crying for it. They're probably not going to get it. But I'm hoping that maybe that will be something that will come from this because Ricochet for me would be a great natural fit because he's so bland. He's just, he does his flips and that's it. He's on main event. We don't see him. He's an incredible talent, something that should be used a lot more on Raw. And he's worked as a heel before. I've enjoyed his work when he's been a heel, whether it's been in Japan or whatever. So I want to see that brought to Raw. I think that'd be amazing to see.
I think you make some excellent points. As I said, Ricochet definitely part of the fan club here, definitely underused. The fact that we got Reginald in a couple of segments we're going to be talking about where does very similar flips and stuff, gets more time than Ricochet. It's a joke, but back onto Ricochet, definitely. For me, this is where I have a problem. Lashley is meant to be the force. Never before has he needed people to do his work for him. This guy's he's been so unbeatable, so undefeated for so long. He took Drew out sort of Elimination Chamber, no questions asked. Why would he need a babyface to sort of get rid of Drew? It doesn't make sense. Lashley should be able to do it for himself. For me, I think this was just a really bad sort of segment. You don't want to associate the world champion with the 24/7 title because once they do, I'm not saying that anything will happen to it. It just means that for me, the value of it goes down slightly. I think the 24/7 title, that's a division you don't get out of. Associating Lashley to get these jobbers to do sort of take Drew out. Lashley should be able to do it himself. Surely this should be a defending champion. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, Lashley, took no prisoners. That's what got him to that next level a couple of months ago where everyone went, yeah, we need this, Lashley. Like, it doesn't make sense for him to now all of a sudden go, I'm a cowardly heel and I need help. That's not what Lashley was all about. He was going to take on all comers. The only thing that could be great out of this is that maybe we might get some sort of gauntlet match next week where Drew can have, against guys that deserve TV time. We don't mention Tozawa or Drew Gulak. People that deserve great TV time. That would be quite fun to see them take Claymores because they're great athletes and would sell things very, very well, even though they've not been booked tremendously.
Definitely got a controversial comment, Steve. I'm going to go to this. Dominic Mills, Reginald has personality though, Jonesy. Nothing about Ricochet. Do you mean nothing that he's not good in the ring? Like this guy, he's so good in the ring. I don't know, sort of his personality, his charisma. He isn't very charismatic. I'll give you that, Dom. But I think you've got to see this guy in the ring if that's what you're saying. Would you agree with that, or am I missing something on that comment?
I mean, Reginald does have personality. I mean, I don't dislike the guy. My problem with Reginald was that he was inserted in the Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair storyline, but he interferes in all the women's matches. It just takes the focus away from what you should be looking at. But the thing is, though, that is also his job. So technically, it's working as a heel. We're jumping ahead slightly here, but I actually like his partnership with Nia Jax a lot more than anybody else I've seen. I found those segments a lot more entertaining. But Reginald, he has personality. Ricochet right now seems super bland on TV, the way he's presented. Has he got personality? Yes, he's not the strongest promo in the world, but he does have personality. He's not given the chance to showcase it, but certainly it is interesting of what WWE sees as their priorities of the two people, because I'm sure a lot of people would side with Ricochet, but Reginald does bring something to the table. I just don't think it's been used in the right way.
Okay, speaking about Reginald, he's in our next segment. This is the non-title women's tag match. Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke. Obviously, Reginald comes out. He's doing more flips than sort of a Batman movie or something. It was insane the amount of flips. This guy, he has got talent, I'll give you that. This match was a horrible match for me. I think didn't really do any favours. Luckily, the women's tag team champions retained. It was very chaotic. Reginald evolved in every sort of finish. It's interesting to see the dissension between Shayna Baszler and sort of Nia is starting there because of Reginald. But for me, I'm just glad he's away from Sasha and Bianca, really. I'm hoping he stays with them totally away from them if possible. Have you got any thoughts you want to add and thoughts about the match?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Yeah, I like I said earlier on, I kind of like the fact that he's with Nia, and like you said, that creating that dissension with her and Shayna, it's coming now. We know it's going to work. I think those belts will be dropped at WrestleMania, and if you keep Nia and Reginald as a partnership, I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch. It could be good TV. Yes, cringeworthy in places, but hey, I like to be sports entertained. I've got no problem with that. As for the women's tag team championships, I think at WrestleMania we're heading to at least a 4-way. I'd even quite happy to see tag team turmoil come in, but it looks like that we'll get Lana and Naomi as a team going there. We'll probably get Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke because they're all failing individually. Maybe it'll be a group tag team effort. And Natalya and Tamina on SmackDown cannot be ignored. They are the team that's been booked very strong. They, I think, are your most likely next tag team champions. I'd like to see the right squad involved as well. Like I say, if it was tag team turmoil, but right now, if I'd say the right squad would probably be out, I'd go for the Fatal 4-way. I think that's a safe bet for an undercard match shout.
I hope so. Let's hope we get this sort of tag team title defended against decent opponents. Moving forward, then we had this segment. It's Elias, it's Braun Strowman, it's Shane McMahon. They're giving a premiere of their new song. Braun is stupid. It was not bad. The lyrics were quite good. It was quite catchy. I thought it was better than the Slimegate last week, as sure. Did you enjoy the song before we kind of go into the rematch that took place?
I enjoyed this a lot more than anything I've enjoyed with Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon up to this point. And someone who's quite keen on a bit of karaoke and also has been working with it. I've heard a lot worse. So I was sports entertained.
Okay, so we have a rematch. This is a rematch, obviously, from the Fastlane pay-per-view. Braun Strowman, Elias, very quick match. Strowman gets the win. Interesting note, was it just me, Steve, or during the match did they stop it and start playing train noises like it was A-Train coming back or something? That's kind of the impression, or am I imagining that?
No, you didn't imagine it, sadly. I thought I was streaming at one point, and it turned out to be real. They are actually doing train noises now when Strowman runs around the ring, and it is god-awful. If it was me, I would choose never to do that again. It was god-awful.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go to the comments. We've got one here. Steve, Braun Shane should be a cage match in Mania. Probably going to be a strap match. I agree. It's going to be some sort of gimmick so Shane could do some crazy bump. If this is just one-on-one, it's not going to be fun, is it? Let's be honest, Steve.
No, and I love the idea of the cage match idea. No, it's fine. I love the idea of the cage match idea, and the reason why I'm going to mention this for Steve as well is because of the fact that Shane is escaping all the time. He's trying to run away. You can't run away in a cage match. No. We know you can, but kayfabe terms you can't. So, and Shane can jump off the top of the cage. So there's something you can do, and it keeps them away from people as well. You can't really do the force count anywhere stuff, probably with people being present. So I think the cage match is the way to go. But a strap match would work really well also because it's the same thing of not being able to escape. So
yeah, he makes a good point. The reason why I was laughing, I've got to go to this comment. Choo, sorry. Yeah, exactly. It is A-Train's music in 2021. I never thought we'd see that type of entrance again. But drop the train entrance. It's a bit silly. Like it's a bit far-fetched. But there we go.
It sums up everything with the Braun Strowman Shane McMahon feud. Unfortunately, is that it's designed for 6-year-olds. It's not designed for us.
We're finally going to get this match at WrestleMania. Let's hope it's one and done. No, definitely. We then obviously had this Randy Orton promo. So this was kind of the go-home part of the show. Randy Orton comes out. He's showing no real effect of last week. He's coming out of a bag. We then end up with him just kind of in the ring. It looks like sort of that something's going to happen. We then get Alexa Bliss come out. It looks like sort of Alexa Bliss basically is going to sort of do something. The lights obviously go out. From nowhere, we then obviously get sort of the Fiend standing behind Randy Orton. And then randomly, the Fiend just kind of stands there for about 10 minutes. Nothing kind of happens. It ends up with Randy Orton pouring petrol on him. The Fiend's almost like a statue, can't do anything. Next thing you know, it looks like Randy's going to sort of set fire to him. He does the RKO. And then Alexa comes to the ring, and then obviously he goes towards Alexa. The Fiend recovers, and then they kind of just sort of do the Sister Abigail. The show ends. For me, a couple of points I've got with this. I could not believe the Fiend didn't sell the RKO. He should be straight up. This guy's been burnt alive. This guy shouldn't be feeling any pain at the moment. So I thought the fact that the sell on the RKO was far too long. I know that they want to make it a bit competitive. The element with fire, kind of get that. But for me, this was a very flat kind of go-home segment for Raw. I think it didn't really work. What are your thoughts of the segment?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is for me, you know that I'm not really a massive fan of the supernatural stuff that's been going on, but I'm going to take the positive road with this week, is that I thought the segment with Alexa Bliss backstage earlier on was fantastic. I thought that what she did, the delivery, her character work is incredible. It's on another level. I think everyone's character work on this to a point was very good. I thought Randy's promo was very strong. The Fiend's look is quite cool. I will actually now go on record and say that. I've had time to digest it. I think it looks good. But what I would try and say is, yeah, I agree that he probably sold that too long. He was standing there too long. I think that this segment, if he'd have cut the middle part out where he was just standing there not reacting for so long and then laying on the floor for so long, I think if he'd have took like 90 seconds off of this, it would have been a lot more impactful. But that being said, I do think that this was all right. I think it was okay to finish the show, and we know that we're getting the match at WrestleMania between these two, and even with the interesting looking match graphic with the Fiend and how he looks now. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, we're going places. We're going to WrestleMania. This match is happening. It is two big superstars in a ring against one another. Let's, for God, hope there's no bugs being projected over the ring this time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think. What do you think the stipulation is going to be at WrestleMania? They're going to have to do something. It can't just be one-on-one, surely.
I have no idea.
Because they've already done the fire, haven't they? Did the fire at TLC.
And would you want to do fire the first time your fans back in attendance? I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I think it just needs to have weapons in it.
Would you be a fan of like a casket match, that type of thing, or do you think that's too much Undertaker involved to a certain point?
I think you can make it work in a way.
Or a body bag match, maybe, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like a stretcher match, but like obviously not stretcher. I mean, Buried Alive would work kind of well, wouldn't it? You know,
yeah, Buried Alive would be good.
You could put them in that sort of area, light the flame and throw it in, and you get the big boom. And obviously, Randy's probably disappeared by that point, and you write him off TV. I don't know. There's going to be something spectacular with their match at WrestleMania. It's probably going to have some form of cinematic edge. I wouldn't be surprised if it was something that wasn't even in the Raymond James Stadium. But we'll have to wait and see how it's going to work out. It's hard to know at this point. But like you say, this match does need something. And if rumors have been how it's been previously, this is probably going to write Randy off for TV for a little while. But let's see what happens. It's still a way to go. It's getting a lot closer, though. WWE probably need to make a decision in the next week if they're going to add a stipulation.
I'd agree. So let's go to the final score and thoughts then for Raw. So if you're going to score this out of 10, I'll let you go first. What would you score this out of 10?
Well, the thing is, not everything made sense, and there was the panic button. But you know what? I had kind of a bit of fun watching this episode. I won't lie. So I'm going to go for a 7/7.5. Let's go 7.25 to be awkward.
Yeah, I'm going to go 6 out of 10. I think it was more fun than recent weeks. They've done a lot of booking. I just really hope when we get next year's WrestleMania, we're not sort of booking matches with 2 or 3 weeks to go. It's very hard to get invested, apart from the major matches with little or no build. But for me, it was an interesting show, more interesting than normal. Interesting to see what kind of happens. I'm going to go to the comments quickly. We've got a few comments there. Just going to go to one here. Dominic Mills. I must be 6 years old because I don't mind this angle. Yeah, no, I got to admit, if I was 6 years old, I saw The Fiend. God, I'd run a mile. I used to run the mile for The Undertaker, to be fair, and I used to watch it. God. Well, I don't know if you feel the same.
I was frightened of Papa Shango as a 6-year-old.
Oh, man, God. He was terrifying. Do you remember when he set fire to the guy's feet? That
was the one. I remember being like 6 years old and just looking around going, I don't like this. Oh, yeah.
Okay, got a comment for Rated R for Wrestling. What up, guys? All right. What up, Wrestling? Good to see you, Rated R for Wrestling. If anyone hasn't, go and check that channel out. Fantastic channel. Got some great content, great Raw reviews. Says how it is, really, which I kind of like. And obviously going to go forward now. So my sort of final thoughts of Raw, I think exciting. They built stuff up. I think we're sort of going really on towards WrestleMania. We just need to kind of get some more solid matches. Interested to see what the dynamic is with Charlotte and stuff like that and how that kind of fits. But have you got anything else you want to add before we get to the news stories?
Very, very quickly, I had a tweet sent to me. We saw like potentially the rough look of what the match cards were going to be for the WrestleMania for both nights. And I don't remember the person that replied to me, but they said, "What do you think of the card?" And I said, "I think it looked quite stacked." And someone said, "You're joking? This is a terrible looking card." And it kind of got me to just a little bit of thinking. I just wanted to make a quick point on it. Is that I think that this card does look good. A lot of the superstars are very good at what they do on the night. The matches are going to be fantastic. It's all about how you build it and how you present it, folks. Because if you go back to the New Generation era, which is kind of an era that I compare what we're currently in, we had the Ringmaster, which was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Rocky Maivia. A couple of years later, they morphed into characters that connected with people. And that's what you need to do with the current crop you've got. You don't need to keep bringing the people from the past back, like Goldberg. We've been relying on the past for 15 years. It's about building the now. And if you can build these superstars into something competitive and what people can connect with, we'll make those new stars of tomorrow. And even superstars like Stone Cold and The Rock, their first match was at D-Generation X in 1997 pay-per-view for the IC title. They went to main event WrestleMania twice and have a third WrestleMania match, which was like seen as the biggest matches of all time. So for me, I just want to say that this WrestleMania card, yes, it's not being booked the best, but I think come the night, we've got a lot of talent here. Let's get behind this talent because we could build some new stars on the night. You've got the celebrity in there that's going to bring casuals in like a Bad Bunny. We've got big main event matches. I think we can make a good solid card here. So I want to go into WrestleMania feeling more optimistic. So thank you for just giving me that opportunity just to get off my chest for like.
That's all right. It's fine. It's a good point. You make some good analysis. The rest to start somewhere. Going to go to a comment quickly. Cena Nation Dog. I know you wanting the NXT tag thing. That's coming next. So I'll go to the comment. Cena Nation Dog. That's another good channel. Everyone check it out. It's another good channel. He makes some fantastic videos as well. Jonesy chats Wrestling Wire. NXT tag team titles vacant. So NXT tag team titles. Unfortunately, there's an injury. Danny Burch got an injury last week in the NXT main event. And obviously with Finn Balor when he was kind of dropped on his shoulder. So the tag team titles are vacant. Announcement will be tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to do some sort of quick tournament going into kind of sort of this takeover stand deliver. What would you do with the NXT tag titles now they're vacant?
I think it's very simple. The only thing they can do, it's very sad, by the way, for Danny Burch, because I think we were getting a freeway at the takeover, and obviously you take them out, so you put the other two teams that were the final of the Dusty Cup. That's the only way I think you can do it. MSK
are out as well. Are they out with COVID or out just generally? Are they injured? I thought they were injured.
They were selling an injury on TV. I don't know if there was any legitimacy. I mean, with COVID, you never know. I know NXT is meant to have suffered a bit again, but if everyone's healthy and everyone's good, that's what I would do, because that's what you did with the NXT Women's Tag Titles. Have the Dusty Cup in a rematch. That's what I would do here. I think it makes the most logical sense.
Perfect. I'm going to go to another comment. Great to see you here, Tom. Tom Collahu. That's another fantastic channel. Fantastic content. I thought it was a good Raw, to be honest. Good overall wrestling, and we got some forward motion for Mania. Yeah, I agree with all the points, Tom. I think it was a good Raw. Sort of going forward now, I'm going to go to another comment quickly just before we go to our next story. Rated R for Wrestling. Put them back on Brazango. Yeah, they're not bad. They've never been used right by WWE, but no, good shout, I'd say, definitely. So our next kind of news story, we're going to talk about Andrade and Charlotte. So obviously an update. Unfortunately, Charlotte has been revealed she's got COVID, so that's very unfortunate. She's on the recovery. There was a tweet saying it may be 4 days, so hopefully that might mean she's back and she's going to be in this triple threat, maybe a WrestleMania with Oscar and Rhea potentially. Obviously, Andrade, apparently today it's been revealed he's got there's no complete cause, so he can wrestle wherever he wants when he wants. Where is Andrade going to go? Is he going back to Mexico? Is he going to Japan? Or is he going to AEW with Selena Vega, as like everybody may think?
Yeah, it's hard to know that, because I mean, I've seen Sean Ross Sapp also has given a conflicting report to that, saying that I believe it was him anyway. I could be misquoted, but I mean, I heard that in Wrestle Talk saying that that there is a 90-day complete clause. So it's conflicting reports going on around that at the moment. But where he will be is anyone's guess. There's so many great destinations he could go. AEW would be foolish to not go for him, because obviously the Hispanic market, it'd be great to push for that. Same for Impact Wrestling, he would be a main eventer, but he has history with Ring of Honor and New Japan as well. When you say Mexico also, New Japan, he was a part of the, I think it was LIJ stable previously. And obviously he's good friends with Rouge, who's the current Ring of Honor world champion, and they've got a stable going on right now. And of course got their Ring of Honor 19th anniversary show coming this Friday. So anywhere could be a potential for Andrade. I personally would like to see him in AEW. I know people say about, oh, this WWE guys to AEW, but at the same time, like, where are people going to go? What happened in the 90s when people left WCW or WWE? They went to the other button, because there's only so many companies to go around.
There was ECW, WWE, WCW, wasn't it? There was them three. Yeah. You'd get people that couldn't quite make it or had fallen out of WWE or WCW and ECW. And then it was at TNA, wasn't it? Then we got, when TNA first started, we got all the people that couldn't make it in WWE and stuff. But no, definitely. Have you got anything else you want before we get to the last part tonight?
No, I'm ready to move on.
Okay, got last two parts. So last part tonight, it's been confirmed. WrestleMania Undisputed Title main event as well. This is a spoiler. You may not want to watch it. If you don't want a spoiler, please mute for 5 minutes. Yeah, confirmed. Dave Meltzer confirmed yesterday. It's going to be a triple threat. It's obviously Edge, Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns. Edge is turning heel. That's going to happen as well, apparently. So very interesting sort of analysis there. The fact they've added Edge as a heel, it makes it fun. Are you a fan of Daniel Bryan being added to this match? For me, it's a fantastic choice after what I've done recently.
I'm much more of a fan of Daniel Bryan than Dave Meltzer. I'll say that quickly. But yeah,
Meltzer knows his stuff, I think. He's always stuff.
No, but he always has to give it away, doesn't he? If you get the information, you haven't got to tell everyone exactly what's going to happen. But that's just a personal preference, though. But at the same time, I look at it and think that, yeah, Daniel Bryan is the obvious choice. He makes most sense to come into the match, because the build with Roman and Edge hasn't really happened for weeks. Daniel Bryan's been a focal point. The way that they did the main event at Fastlane, it makes the most perfect sense to make it a triple threat match. And I do think when you look at it, I mean, 5 or 6 years ago, Daniel Bryan had to retire from an injury. Edge, 10 years, had to retire, go from an injury. Roman Reigns, a couple of years ago, we thought he wouldn't come back with a leukemia. All these three guys are now back in their prime, doing some of the best work of their career in the main event of WrestleMania. You can't ask for more.
I'm excited by this match. I think this is the one match Roman may lose the belt, so I think it's going to be great. If we're going to put early predictions out for WrestleMania now, for me, I think the one, if it's Daniel Bryan's last WrestleMania, he's the one that's going to have to get the belt, I think. I'm going to go to a comment quickly here as well. Rated R for Wrestling. I think it should have been Cesaro in the championship instead of Bryan. 100% agree. I think it should have probably been Cesaro, but this is Bryan's last WrestleMania, maybe. So it's a feel-good story. So maybe that's why they're doing that. But Edge and Bryan have got a very similar background. Both been out for injuries with necks, thinking they weren't going to wrestle again. But for me, is this the point to take the belt off Roman, or do you think he should hang on it? I'd love it if he hung on to it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
In a way, it'd be best for him to hang on to it because going on a video we discussed, what I commented on the other day, which featured Rated R and yourself, of course, about a 15-minute conversation. Sorry, guys. But with Cesaro, I'd love him to be in that position, but to go with like want and think, of course, I don't think it will happen. But at the same time, it would be great if Roman could keep that belt until we're ready to push someone up the card and elevate and make a brand new star and champion like Big E or Cesaro, for example, would be great examples. But looking at things right now, it would be a great way to take the belt off of Roman Reigns and see a different dynamic, keep things fresh, because Roman doesn't need to be involved in the decisions. So Daniel Bryan could win the championship, or Edge could. I would say Edge is more likely to. And that way, Roman Reigns can be, head of the table without the championship needing to get it back. It's a fresh storyline, something we haven't seen, rather the same old song and dance where we eventually get bored of what Roman Reigns is doing every week, which at the moment almost seems impossible because everything Roman does is absolutely amazing.
It's great, definitely. I've got one last kind of thing. Obviously, they've announced what matches are on certain nights now. I've just got to get your opinion on one thing, Steve. So obviously, they announced night one's going to be Sasha Bianca. Night two's obviously Oscar Rhea. For me, is it just me or is that the wrong move? Because I was really the Sasha Bianca match is the match that I'm really kind of looking forward to, despite the poor build and poor booking. I just thought it was a mistake. Why would you not have that match on night two?
I think WWE have gone with the route of having a Royal Rumble winner on each night. So Bianca is on night one, and you've got Edge on night two. But the difference is, though, I'm still not sure if Sasha Bianca main events, which I think it should. But at the same time, Lashley and Drew have been booked so strongly. There's probably a strong chance that being on night one, that's the one that could main event. It's one of those two matches that will main event night one, and obviously the triple threat will main event night two.
Am I confused? I'm sure they're saying the main event all the time whenever Lashley and Drew are mentioned. It's always the main event. I'm sure I've heard that, unless that's me getting confused with.
They do, yeah, but I think they do it with everything. So WWE have their own plan. Every match is a main event. Every match is WrestleMania worthy. That's how WWE books their stuff. They want to make it feel as important as possible. No
problem. Just going to go to the last comment before we end the show this evening. Dominic Mills, Edge wins at Mania, confident of that. Yeah, I think the Romans, this is the time Romans losing the belt. If he comes out of this Mania with the belt, Bobby Lashley isn't. It's one or the other. One of them is going to lose the belt. I can't see them both retaining. I hope I'm wrong, but definitely not. Yeah, that's been about it for Jonesy Chats Wrestling. I appreciate coming on, Steve. Before we end the video, please tell everybody what you got coming up on your great channel.
Thank you very much, as always. SCW, the wrestling channel on YouTube now. Yeah, I mean, I've got the Q&A that's just dropped a couple of days ago, my Fastlane review show as well. So lots of content that's been put on the channel. More content will be coming throughout the week. So yeah, on the road to 1,000 subscribers, would love to hit the milestone by WrestleMania. So yeah, please, would really appreciate if people go and check out the channel. Let's make it happen. This content's great. In terms of me, Jonesy, coming up this week, we've got sort of on Saturday, me, Steve, we're back for the SmackDown review. WrestleMania 9, we're going to be talking about that on the Rated R for Wrestling channel. That'll be on Saturday, 4 p.m. GMT time live. Check it out if you want a retro review. That'll be a fun show. I've already watched it. Yeah, it was a hard watch. I'm not going to give too much of a spoiler, but we'll definitely be that. And in lieu of that, Steve is watching all the Raws up to WrestleMania. Give the guy a medal. I think he deserves something. Same with the wrestling chat as well, to be fair. How are you finding it so far? Fine, yeah. I mean, either that or give me ice cream, preferably a bit of cookie dough ice cream would be quite good. But no, at the same time, I'm not too bad with it. I watched the first couple of Raws. I enjoyed this afternoon watching Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect as the main event. That's a great match, actually. They had a great match. They had a solid encounter, them two. But I have also seen the entrance of the Giant Gonzalez, which, of course, you know, there's ups and downs, isn't there? But no, we're on the road to watching WrestleMania 9. We'll be there by the weekend and looking forward to reviewing the show. It's nice to refresh the memory. Definitely. So this has been Jonesy Chats Wrestling. Thank you very much for all the comments and all the interaction today. It means the world. Really enjoyed talking to you guys and talking to Steve about Raw. Yeah, if you've got sort of any other things you want us to talk about, just obviously please drop in the comments below. We'll do a video. But no, this has been Jonesy Chats Wrestling, joined by Steve from SCW. And as always, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't, please sub to the channel and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for watching, guys. Take care.